Hello everyone, this is Diane, and it is time to show you this new journal called Moppet. This is the last one in the series of these children's book journals with this style that I've been doing. And they're a little bit bigger than Golden Books. This one is like 7 1/8 by 9 1/2, and it has a 2 1/4 inch spine. And it, like I said, created with a book called Moppet. I will be sending these pages, the leftover things, so you can do what you like with them. The pages are in good condition. Just trying to see if I could find the copyright. It's 1950, so the pages are very smooth and beautiful, so I thought you'd like to have those, and you can do things with them. And it's in great condition for a 1950 book. All right, so I made an elastic band like I did with the other ones, and look at this cute little buckle that I had in my stash. This is a vintage belt buckle, and it does have some black on the back. I tried to clean it off, but I think it's where it was rubbing against whatever it had been attached to. But I put that on the back, and it's just a cute little flower, and I use this turquoise blue stretch ribbon there. One of my favorite things about constructing the journal, the cover, is picking out a spine fabric. And I love this, trying to get myself in the right frame. I lowered my phone and had to really wiggle my bendy stand thing around to try to get the camera, the phone, hanging in just the right position. So I hope it's okay. But this is part of a quilt top that was not quilted. It was just the plain top. And it had all different colors. It's very eclectic, but I chose this section that had the bright pink in it. And I love it. And then this rickrack picks up all these other colors that are in here. His hat is purple, and there's a little bit of purple on this. His pants are blue. She's got green and yellow. So lots of colors here. And then there are lots of colors in this bead dangle that I made. Colorful strings and colorful beads. Let's take a look inside. I'm going to try not to talk too much and just kind of flip through a little more quietly than I normally do. But I will talk. I did use KB and Friends printables throughout, and I will link the shop below. I won't link every individual kit that I used because I used quite a few. There's this fabric that I got at the flea market. I love this fabric. And I sewed scrapbook pieces together to make the pages big enough. There's some fabric here and some rickrack. This is a German or Swedish postcard or report card from 1973. This is a vintage canned boysenberry label. And on the back side, I clipped this little scrap of wrapping paper that you can cut up and use. And this is a KB and Friends tag. Teacher's planner book here. Beautiful vintage card. And I did decide, it does have writing on the inside, but I did decide to glue it closed to make a pocket for you. This is wallpaper. And this is a digital from, it's not KB and Friends. I'll have to see if I can find it. This is wallpaper. This one is KB and Friends. And this one is from whatever this was. Isn't that beautiful? And there's a vintage ticket in there. And I added this KB and Friends ticket, train ticket here. And this telegram, which is KB and Friends. A 1960s sewing pattern page. This is a vintage flower trim. These are from vintage books, The Bird and the Mouse. This is KB and Friends. And inside is another one of those adorable cards. And this little girl, KB and Friends. And that might be KB and Friends too, but I'm not sure. This came out of a collectible book. It was a book of China, and people collected it. So this was a book that showed all the various pieces of China that could be collected. Wrapping paper with play money and a lottery ticket from the 70s, 73, and this little ticket from KB and Friends. And this is a vintage flavoring extract label. It's nutmeg, and this is real vintage, so it is delicate. Here is the doll couple. What are their names? John and Cora Bell. And they live in the doll house that was put up in the attic because the little girl didn't play with it anymore. And then Moppet the mouse joined them. Music paper. This was for guitar. There's a post-it note, fold-a note. Here they are with the spider web across the doorway because nobody's playing with them anymore. This is a little tuck spot I made with a die cut and an old maid card and a vintage doily. I had that in my stash for a long time. KB and Friends and a library card. This is from a vintage magazine, this little girl advertising Wrigley Spearmint Gum. I glued it to some paper, and it's a little pocket. And this is a KB and Friends flashcard, and that's one of KB and Friends. And then I included these little pieces from a Beatrix Potter book, so you can take those and use them wherever you want in the book. There's a little brown jug syrup label. This is a flashcard. I'm not sure what the digital company was for that. And I made this on a video. This is wallpaper. KB and Friends digitals. And then this is a bingo card. Not vintage. I got it from Amazon. I made a ruffle out of this netting fabric that had the blue stitches on it in parallel lines. This is a library card thing that I put the glue on it, and then when I went to put it on, I dropped it right here where I didn't want it. So I put it where I wanted it, and then I had to cover up where the glue made a mess. So it gives you another journaling spot, and the glue was still over here, so I added this washi tape. This is a fabric flip with Dick and Jane fabric. There's a little mouse. Now she is drawn on. Can you see the blue? Somebody drew around her, but she was too cute to not use, so she's there, and it looks like she's ringing a school bell, so this is a spelling list. This is vintage. And a KB and Friends journal card. This is the back of the wallpaper. I glued this paper on it on this side, and this paper on this side. Makes some of the pages are pretty stiff because of gluing things on the opposite side. That's just a digital tag. Don't know where that came from, really. the other side of that greeting card. And I added this little digital. There are the the Loganberries. This little chick element came from a little children's book. That's a digital. And that is vintage embroidered ribbon. This is double-sided paper, and I put another of those long, thin journaling spots there. This is a cluster that I made with, got a thread stuck in there, with digital, an index card, and a couple other things. And then this is the center signature with the Currier and Ives backing page for a calendar. It's cardstock. And I wrapped this doll clothes pattern around it because it's a book about dolls and a mouse. And this card has some other little dolls on it boarding a train. I stenciled and stamped on the back. This little scrap of fabric was inside of a pattern. Might have been this pattern, but I don't remember. So I had it on my desk and I used it. Made a perfect tab. I used these images of Moppet to make top and bottom corner tucks. So this is another of the flashcards. I thought the mouse would enjoy some bread. And you have to bend it to get it in there. So if you don't like having to do that, you can use this large card somewhere else in the book. But this card fits in there pretty nicely. And this is a vintage greeting card with a paper doll inside. I just move her up so she can peek through and say hello. This is Moppet exploring the dollhouse. Vintage insurance ledger paper. Bonded stationery. Music. I forgot what it's called. Manuscript paper. This is from a nursery rhyme book. Calculations paper with graph on that side. A guest book, another vintage pad to write on, some of the writing paper for learning how to write, more music paper with the guitar grids on the back. This is from an appointment book from Avon, I believe. Dyed manuscript paper and dyed graph paper, all kinds of fun papers in this signature for writing. And then I did include one of the book pages in this signature with the writing paper. Looks like Moppet brought her little family, and they are just making a mess. But they like it. Hooray, hooray, yelled John. It's like a circus. Something is going on all the time. That's the way I like it. Lots of action, lots of fun. We'll never be lonesome anymore. And on the back of this folder signature, I added this vintage flashcard, which I stenciled and added some die cuts, and this cute little pig from a book, and this scrapbook paper that I cut with a wavy cutter. Little Miss Muffet and a bingo paper and some play money. And there's a pocket on the back from the back of the sewing pattern. And this little girl from a nursery rhyme book. She has a wooden doll. Put some vintage rickrack here. There is an envelope made out of a children's book page. And it contains 2 index cards. This one's vintage. There's a frog on that envelope. And this tag. And this card, again, I put the tab on the wrong side. It should have been over here so I could put it in that way. But this girl is from a vintage magazine. And then the last signature, we have some more of the fabric that I got at the flea market. And this is a silver textured paper that I sewed on. Vintage trim here. The eyelet is vintage. I'm not sure where this came from, but it is a digital. It looks like it's got fringe at the bottom, so it looks like it's a copy of a piece of linen towel or something. And this tag, this is from a vintage magazine, sewing pattern tissue. And this is a vintage letter from 1946, addressed to someone in Athens, Pennsylvania. Look at that. So cute. And I love this embroidered fabric. I got several different pieces of that in different widths and different color patterns. And I used several of them. There's another one there. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is for canned cherries. This was a little fabric cluster that I had, and then I had this scrap of the bright pink polka dots. So I glued that down and then added the cluster. This greeting card was folded right here. And so I glued this on to kind of keep it from wanting to fold that way again. This was the other piece. This was my favorite because of the colors. And I didn't have much of it. So I have a little piece about that big left after using it in these journals. Wallpaper. This is Amity Bloom paper back here. The Hare and the Hedgehog. There's a picture on the other side. And I took this little girl out of a children's book and glued her to cardstock, cut her out, and she's a tuck spot. And this is an image from the same book, because she has a doll, so that's why I wanted to include this. It's got a kitty too. So I put this in there so you can use this wherever you like. This is a KB and Friends piece. This has cherries on the paper, so I use this KB and Friends piece there. And simplicity is its own form of artistry. I put in a peanuts bag, fresh roasted peanuts. And this was one cut from one of those Amity Bloom pages that came with this, oh, where is it? This set, storybook set. And I just made a tag out of it. And here is a nursery rhyme card from KB and Friends, and another little vintage gift card, a Mother's Day greeting with the beautiful little bluebirds. This is 1943. This is wrapping paper with play money and vintage claim ticket. This is a ukulele music book. And another fold-a-note. This was one of the cards that I got in a Happy Mail. It's a game card. And a tuck spot that I glued all these pieces together on top of that. This is from Johanna Alyssa, from Johanna Clough. And the BB Bats wrapper from Taffy. And a wagon from KB and Friends. There's another flash card with a bus. This little card down here says the children race their toy sailboats. And here is a tag with piano music paper. And another ticket. Maybe it's for the bus. pickle bag with a tag that I made. Another fabric flip with these little paper doll images and a vintage piece of doily. Here's the other side of that Amity Bloom storybook paper. Really, really cute. The other side of that greeting card that was bent in the wrong way. And this is the vintage Valentine duck, and it used to have a honeycomb skirt. All that's left is the very base part of the honeycomb, the part that's glued on. It does have a little stand. And then on the last page is a pocket that is decorated with an image from the book. She was adored by many, and I think that's referring to Moppet in this case. They adore her. And here's another one of those adorable cards, digital, and some mice that you can cut up and use in the book. Another envelope from a children's book with a frog, and it has a couple of journaling cards. And this piece from a 1930s magazine advertising Keds. And on the back cover is a library pocket. It says the kittens laughed. And here, all the ducks laughed too. There's a tag earlier in the book where the squirrel laughed. Oh, I need to put something here. I think I sent out the other book I made, the Hoppy the Hopper one, and forgot to put my signature on it. This is not the right pen. So I don't want to forget. So here it is, Saturday after Thanksgiving, and I worked Friday and Saturday all day to get this book finished. I don't know why, I just had to have it done. I didn't expect to have it done at the end of this week, but I did. Got it done. And I won't be doing very many 2023 journals after this, because we're nearing the end of the year. So there we have it. This is Moppet. She will be in my shop, I'm going to say at 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. You'll be seeing this video Sunday morning, and I will have this book listed in my shop at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making these books. They were so much fun. I'm not sure when I will get back to the circus journals, but I've got some tidying and organizing to do, and probably putting some more things in my shop before I start the circus journals again, but they will be coming. Thank you so much, and have a creative day today. Bye-bye.